Hey makers, this is Dhruvin and welcome to third episode of my App in a Day step-by-step series. In this episode, we are going to talk about model-driven application in detail. We are going to build our previous example with model-driven application. We will build one procurement model-driven application in today's class. Along with that, we will talking about some advanced topics like what is business process flow, how business process flow is working, and at the end, we will do end-to-end testing as well. Also, at the end, we will play one quiz as well. So make sure you comment out your answer in the quiz question. Again, as I said in my previous episodes as well, before you reach up to this point, make sure you check out all my previous episodes. The links are available in the description box. Because in first and second episode, we have discussed about Canvas application and Dataverse in depth. Also, this is a crash course. If you are looking for full course, the links are available in the description box. Along with that, if you want to join me in any paid live program, then I have upcoming batches coming on. You can always check out my website where you can find the latest live training dates where I'm explaining about Canvas app, model driven app, Power Automate, Copilot Studio. Many different training programs are there. You can enroll yourself to the program which you like the most. Okay, so do check it out over there. But before we get started, make sure you hit thumbs up, subscribe my channel, and make sure you follow me on my Twitter and Instagram because these are the platform where I'm uploading short content of Power Platform. Again, if you haven't subscribed my channel so far, please do that because it's free for you, but it motivates me in lots of other ways. So without further delay, let's get started and talk about model-driven application in detail with me. First of all, let me explain you what is model-driven application and which are the cases where we can use model-driven application. So when you open your make.powerapps.com and when you click on create option and click on blank application over here, you are able to see one option over here called build an app based on the Dataverse. Now this is called as model-driven application. So model means data. The app is driven by your data. For model-driven application, it is a necessary step that you have data source already placed in your backend. That data source must be the Dataverse. Model-driven application cannot be created without Dataverse as a data source. So over here, this is database first approach. Okay, so your data model should be presented first in order to build the model-driven application. Unlike Canvas app, like how we build the Canvas application, in Canvas application, there is no necessary that you should have data source, right? Without data source as well, you can build your Canvas application. Like in our first class, when we build this machine ordering system, right? We just connected the Excel source, we connected Dataverse, we connected two sources. But let's say if I want to create any kind of design, if I want to create any kind of user interface, I was able to create that, right? But here in model driven application, it is not the case. This is data driven. It is always driven by your data. So Dataverse table must be created first in order to start with the model driven application. Remember that thing. Okay. Right now in model driven application, only Dataverse as a data source is supported. Okay. Microsoft recently introduced a new feature where it is calling as a canvas page in the model driven, where you can connect any data sources. But the main base data source which model driven is supporting is only and only Dataverse. And obviously Dataverse is a data source here, so the application become premium. And for model driven application, you always require a license in order to run the application. Okay, remember that thing. Now, without further delay, let's extend the example that we have in our previous class. So in App in a Day, we already created our solution, right? So now we need to start building our application on top of that solution by resuming some of the processes. So let's go there. So here I have opened the environment that we have started from class number 1, my App in a Day. And let's go to the solution to create our first model driven application from scratch. So I'm just clicking on solution and opening the same Contoso Coffee approval solution. Let's click on that. Now I want to build one model driven application over here in order to start with this particular example. So for that, what I'm going to do, click on new option, and when you click on new, there is an option available over here called model driven application. Just click on that. As soon as you click on that, basically it will open up this kind of interface where you just need to provide the name of your application. So here I just want to create my application for procurement. So I'm creating an application machine procurement. Here you can provide any description if you want, and let's simply click on create button over here. As soon as I create it, it will create the new model driven application for me. So let it to be created, just wait for a moment and let's see how it looks like once it will create it. Will take few moments in order to create it. And here I am, my model driven application has been created successfully. Once your application is created, basically it is providing you this kind of studio experience in order to build your model driven application. This is very simple and easy interface over here. Okay, in the middle of the section you are able to see the preview of your model driven app, and from left and right side you can configure the different properties of model driven application. Now, the very first thing I want to do here is I want to configure one of the view over here inside my model driven application. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going here in the left panel where you can see the navigation section. Now over here, let's click on these three dots over here and let's add one new group for myself. So I'm just adding one new group over here and let's provide the name of the group as order group. So I'm just providing the group name as orders, and if you want to change your group ID, you can change as well, like group orders. Okay, so let's do up to this point. Okay, after that, what else you need to do is let's add one new page inside this order one. So there is three dots available over here as well. Once you add that group, click on those three dots and click on add a new page. So that will basically add one new page underneath this orders. So let's click on that. As soon as you do that, you are able to see 5 different options available over here. Now here I specifically want to configure my Dataverse table that we have created in our previous sessions. So let's select the Dataverse table from here. Click on that, and as soon as you do that, you are able to see the different option of the table that you have available for yourself. In our previous class, we created the machine order table. So let's configure that machine order table over here. Search for machine, and here you are able to see the order. And make sure that it is tick mark this option as well, show in the navigation. And just click on add over here. At this point, if you haven't performed the previous step, check out the description box for the previous video links, okay, and perform up to this point first. Okay, so now you can see that I am able to see here. So basically what happened is, here in the preview you can see here it's your order, which is your main group. Underneath the group we have configured one of the view of machine orders over here. Okay, so that's what we are doing at this point. Okay, now as a next step, what we need to do is simply save it and publish this page over here and publish your model driven application. So I'm just saving it, and once it is saved, after that we just need to publish it. So simply click on the publish button over here. Okay, I'm publishing it. Will take few moments in order to publish that, and once your application is published, you can able to play that application as well in the live version. Okay, so let it to be published, and after that we will simply play it over here. My application has been published successfully, and now the thing is that I can simply click on play button to see how my model driven application looks like. So the play button is available. Let's click on that, and as soon as you do that activity, you can see that your application is opening into play mode, and here you are able to see these orders and this particular thing. Okay, now this is the first step we have done, where we just created a model driven application just by using one of our Dataverse table. Now we want to extend this example at certain more level, where I want to specifically explain you one of the concept of business process flow in the world of model driven application, where you are having multiple stages involved. At the time you need to create BPF or business process flow within the model driven application. For that we need to configure a couple of data points as well into our existing schema that we have defined into previous example. So previously we have our machine order table. So in that machine order table we need to create couple of more fields. So let's get started and create couple of more fields here, and then we will use that into our business process flow. So for that, again I'm opening my solution here first, and in the solution I will open my machine order table in order to get started by creating some of the columns. Okay, hopefully so far you have followed with me. If not, pause for a moment and make sure that you follow up to this particular point. Okay, now I'm just opening my solution again, and I'm simply going to my tables where I can see my machine orders table. Let's click on that, and let's click on column section to configure some more columns over here. So this is what I'm doing. First of all, let's create a column called capital approved. Okay, so I want to create couple of columns with the data type of yes no, because that is something which I want to consume in my future state of business process flow. So let's get started by creating our first column over here. Like click on new column simply and click on that column name as capital approved, and from data type let's select the choice data type, and from choice make sure you select yes no. Okay, so I'm just selecting here choice yes no, and let's click on save over here for creating the first column. Similar way, I want to create couple of more columns over here called machine received. So let's create our second column now. I'm clicking on new column again, and I'm providing name as machine received. Again, I'm going here choice and type as yes no. I'm selecting that, and let's just click on save in order to create that column. So I'm creating my second column, machine received. It will take some time in order to create a column, so wait for it to be created. Now let's create another column, click on new column again, and let's provide the column name as machine configured. And again, from here I want to provide the data type as choice and yes no as a type, and click on save. So this will create my third column. Fourth column I want to create is send survey column. Okay, so let's click on new column again. I'm providing name as send survey over here, and let's provide data type as type of choice, and I'm selecting yes no data type from here. Okay, and click on save, and it will create my fourth column. Okay, I want to create one more column to recognize if my machine is delivered or not. So I will create one more column called machine delivered with the data type of choice with yes no, and click on save, and that's it. One more column again I wanted to build after that is supplier order ID. Let's click on that, and let's just provide supplier order ID, and I just want to make the data type as single line of text. Okay, and maybe what I want here is data type as text, and let's click on save simply, and this is simply storing that column, and that's it. So these are the column which I wanted to create. Okay, and even if you want to look at whether your columns are created or not, like previous episode shortcut, you can always provide your abbreviation of the solution publisher and see all your custom columns are properly created, right? So at the end, this is how the schema looks like. Okay, now we will go forward and create now business process flow in model driven application. But before that, I need to explain you what is business process flow, what is the purpose of it, and what exactly it is doing. First, we will talk about some theoretical point, and then we will go ahead with the practical part over there. But before that, make sure you reach up to this point, you finish up to this point. And if you haven't liked my video so far, please do like it. And if you haven't subscribed so far, please do subscribe as well. So now, first of all, let me explain you what is business process flow and what's the purpose of it. So business process flow is a tool that guides user through a set of predefined steps to complete the business processes. Basically, it is helping to ensure the consistency and efficiency by providing a visual representation of the stages involved into a process. Business process flow can be customized to fit the specific business need and can include conditions, branching, and many automated actions as well. So this is the basic theoretical textbook definition of business process flow. Now, let's try to understand that practically with the help of example, so you will get a better understanding around that. So, we know that it is a tool that guides through a set of predefined steps to complete the business processes. Now, what do we mean by that? Let me explain you here so you will get a better idea. So this is a simple example of one of the business process flow. Sometimes in your real world project, you have a scenarios and conditions when overall process is divided into multiple parts. Let's say for an example, you are working on onboarding project. Let's say in onboarding, there are multiple steps involved, right? First of all, screening is happening, then interview is happening, then technical round is happening, then maybe HR round is happening, and at the end the negotiation is happening, and at the very end we are hiring that person and onboarding is happening. At the time we are assigning the project to them, we are assigning manager to them, we are assigning device request to them. Okay, all of these things happening in a specific sequence, right? So same thing apply in the model driven world as well. Let's say for an example, sometimes you want to provide some sort of guided representation to your users, where if your application is going through certain several stages, at that time you can create the business process flow for that. Let's say in this particular example, we are going to build one of the business process flow for procurement for this device machine ordering. Okay, so over here in my process, I want to divide that into 4 to 5 different stages. Like first step is, okay, machine device request is happened. Then we are checking the condition that, okay, what is the price of the machine? If it is greater than 10,000, then it should go for the capital approval. After capital approval only, it should go to the next step. But let's say if the device price is less than 10,000, then it should go to directly this step while we are placing the order. Once order is placed, they will receive a machine. And at the very end, after machine is received, it is being configured. Okay. So the overall process is something I just want to divide into 4 to 5 steps. So for that, I can create a business process flow. We will create this from scratch. So don't get yourself confused at this point. Okay. And second important aspect is it is providing you this guided representation. So whenever you open your model driven form at that point, it will show this overall timeline kind of thing to you. Okay, at the time you will exactly know that, okay, in which stage your business process flow at this point, whether it's in machine request state or capital approve or place order or machine state, or exactly where it is, right? So you can configure that end to end in the model driven application with the help of business process flow, which is providing you a very nice interface in order to happen. So now let's see how we can make it happen by creating your first business process flow inside the model driven application. Okay, so let's get started. To create the business process flow, first of all, you need to open the solution. In the solution itself, let's go to the all option and make sure you click on new. Once you click on new, you just need to click on automation and process, and from here you will be able to find out an option business process flow. So new, automation, process and business process flow, right? These are the steps you need to follow. Let's click on that. As soon as you click on that, you just need to provide the name of your business process flow. So here I'm just providing the name as machine procurement process. So let's provide the name over here simply. And we need to configure the table. On which table you want to configure this overall business process flow. Okay, business process flow must require Dataverse entity in order to configure it. Okay, so you must need to provide the table name. So over here I'm simply providing my table called machine order. So let's apply that machine order table. And after that, let's click on create in order to start creating our first business process flow. So I'm just clicking on create, and that will create business process flow in the background. And basically this will redirecting you to the new screen like this. Okay, let's see how it come up. And here I am. My screen for creating a business process flow is looking like this. Now, at this stage, what you need to perform is you need to start adding one by one step. So this is my first step. Similar way, whichever process step you want to introduce here, you can do that. Again, as per theoretical definition, we have seen that in business process flow, you can define different kind of stage, you can define the condition, you can do the different compositions like adding the data step, workflow, action step and flow step. Okay, so these are the different things you can achieve in the business process flow. Again, business process flow has this kind of interface where in the center you have your canvas where you can see your entire business process flow which you have created. On the left hand side, on the right hand side over here, you can add the different component into your business process flow, or you can configure the different properties over here using this particular option. Okay, so now let's start adding the different stages for our business process flow over here. So the very first step that I want to create here is machine request phase. Okay, so this is already one stage added. Okay, let's select that stage, and when you do that, you are able to see the property on the right hand side. Over here, try to provide the display name over here. So here I'm just providing the display name as my stage name. First stage I want is machine requested stage. So let's provide it, and let's select the entity. Entity is by default selected as machine order because business process flow, or when we set up for the very first time itself, in the previous stage you have selected that. Just click on apply to create this stage. So you can see that as soon as you apply, it already renamed that thing. Now let's expand this detail section over here from business process flow. As soon as you do that, here you can add the different data step. That okay, during that step, which are the field you want to ask users to enter. That is something you need to configure. So over here, data step number 1, which are the field required. So whenever you click on the option from the right hand side, it will show all the available column from your Dataverse table. You can configure that okay, when machine is requested, which are the field user need to enter. Okay, which you can select it from here. So let's say here I just want to select like a device order. Okay, so basically I'm just selecting my first column over here called request date. So I'm selecting here request date from the option. So let's select it out and let's click on apply. So you can see the first data field is request date. Now to add the another data point, you simply need to click on this add button and click on add data step from here, and that will add another data point for you. So click on add data step, and you can see as soon as you do that, it is showing you this kind of plus icon in order to add the data point. Click on that, and as soon as you do that, you can see data step number 2. It always go into sequence. It's always incremented by 1. So you can have your sequencing in this particular fashion. Now what other field I want to configure? I want to configure from here like approval status. So I'm just selecting approval status and click on apply. So my second column is also configured. Apart from that, I need one more column over here. So I'm again clicking on add button over here and click on data flow, data step. Let's click on plus button, and over here I'm configuring my third column as my price column. So I'm just providing this price and click on apply. So my first step machine requested is created. Okay. Now second one I want to build here is place order. Okay. So for that, just select your first action that you have built, and after that click on component option from here, and from here let's drag the stage over here, and this is something which will create the second stage. Okay, let's provide the name for your stage. So I'm just providing name of my stage as place order. So let's provide it and click on apply. So this will create that. Click on the detail section to add the data points. I'm clicking on data step number 1 over here, and over here let's just configure couple of property. So first I want to configure over here like enhance ship date, because when order is placed, we just want to provide like okay, what would be the estimated ship date. So I'm just selecting that and click on apply. So first field I want to configure this, and second field let's click on add and add a data step and click on plus button. And now over here I want to provide like a supplier order ID. So let's say I'm selecting here, scrolling down, and I can see my field called supplier order ID. Okay. Now let's say sometimes if you want to make any field as a required field in your business process flow, that okay, user need to enter this field compulsory, then maybe you can just tick mark this. So here I'm just ticking that mark and clicking on apply over here. So I'm just selecting supplier order ID as my second step. Okay, so it's done. Then I want the third step over here called receiving the machine, when machine is received, what I want. So again, let's select this, click on component, and then add a stage. So it will add another stage. Let's provide our third stage name is receive machine. So I'm just providing that and click on apply. Now here we need to add some more data point. So over here I'm simply selecting like, okay, machine received. So from your thing, there is one column that we created, machine received. Let's select that, machine received, and click on apply. So my third stage is also ready. Now I want to add one final stage over here. For that I'm selecting this again and go to the component section and adding one more stage. And here I will configure two more fields, which is machine configured. So I'm selecting this and select, let's say, machine configured from here. Yep. And click on apply. Let's add one more data point. So I'm clicking on add data step. Sorry, not here. I just added mistakenly. So you can maybe delete it. Okay. Yep. And let's select this one and make sure you select this and then click on add. And this is a little bit tricky, guys. Okay. Add data step, and it has added plus button, and just add that. And over here, I just want to add one more field called send survey. So I'm just selecting one of the field which we created called send survey. Perfect. And let's apply that. Okay. So far we just created 4 steps over here: machine request, place order, receive machine, and last one is send survey. Okay. Now I want to introduce one more condition as well. Like, okay, if when you request your machine, and let's say if machine price is more than 10,000, then it should have one more step in between these two called capital approve, and it should require that approval, then only it will go to the next step. Okay. For that, what I'm doing here is I'm selecting simply this one step, and let's go to the component and let's add one condition here in between these two. So I'm adding one condition. Now when you add the condition, here you just need to provide that, okay, what kind of condition you want to check. So here I'm providing my condition name as check price over here, and now here you need to check which field you want to compare against. So here I'm selecting this, and let's select the price from here. If my price value is greater than 10,000, then only I want to apply this. Okay, so let's click on this and click on apply. If my price is greater than 10,000, then I want to add one more additional stage over here in between these two. So I'm just dragging that over here, and this stage is something I want to provide the name as capital approve. Okay, so I'm just providing the name capital approval and clicking on apply. So one more stage introduced over here in between this 1 and 2 stage. Okay, and now here I just want to ask one field point which is like capital approved. So I'm just selecting this, and from data field let's select capital approved. Okay, and let's click on apply. As soon as you do that, you are able to see the condition has been applied perfectly over here. Okay, and this is also looking nicer one. Okay, so the overall business process flow is looking like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's say this is the 5th one. Okay, and in between that we have condition as well. Okay, now once you are done with that, maybe save this business process flow first. That is the must step. Okay, and after that we need to validate and we need to active that business process flow. Now remember one thing, this business process flow is applied at your entity level. Okay, so what happens here is, in your table, if any existing records are created on that business process flow will not work. Okay, this will work for only the new record if you create after this creation of the business process flow. Okay, so now I'm just simply validating this, and you can see validation is also successful, and now we need to activate this business process flow. This is like same process like how we were doing in business rules, right, in our Dataverse class. Same way we need to activate this one as well. So let's activate this, and this is basically activating your business process This will take some time. Click on activate button and let's see how it goes. Click on activate. Will take few moments in order to activate that. Okay, process activate confirmation. Okay, let's wait for few more minutes in order to activate this. And here I am, my business process flow has been configured and activated successfully. Once it is activated, you will be able to see the deactivate button over here. Also, you can reconfirm that whether it's activated or not using the solution option. So just go to your solution and make sure you just click on your process tab inside the solution. Maybe if not appear immediately, maybe just refresh your screen and make sure that your process state is on at this point over here. That means that your business process flow has been activated successfully. Okay, so yeah, that is one process. Now let's go one more level up from here. Once we create our business process flow, after that let's customize our view and let's customize the form a little bit. So what I'm doing in order to customize my form, I'm just going to my table section and click on our machine order table. Now from this, let's click on form to customize it. So I'm just clicking on my form and just open up the main form over here. So I'm clicking on main form. Main form means whenever you open your model driven, specifically the form section from your table level, here you will be able to see three type of form: quick view, main and card. So here I'm talking about this main form. Okay, so make sure you edit that. Click on edit and edit in new tab. And when you do that, basically it will open up the out of the box form which was created automatically when you set up your table for the very first time. So over here you can see at this point, machine name and owner, these are the only two things available over here. And on top you can see that this business process flow is also configured over here because that is something we have configured at our table level. Okay, now let's say here if you want to introduce any new additional fields, you can introduce it. So let's say here I want to introduce my approver field, so maybe I can just drag it out. So over here on the left hand side it will show all the column names from your table, and that's something which you can add in the preview of your form. So let's say here I'm just tracking like approver column, so I'm just making like this approver, and when you drag it, it will be showing like this. So you can simply drag and drop, and it's like pretty simple. Here the UI will be simple because it's a model driven application. You don't have very fancy UI at this point over here. Okay, so I'm just keeping up like this way. I'm just configured this and that's it. Click on save and publish, and that's pretty much it. Let's click on that. So let's publish our form. After that, let's configure our view as well a little bit. So let's see how it will look like, but let it to be published first. And my form has been published successfully. Let's go back from here and let's go to the solution again, and now this time I'm going to configure the views. For that, again I'm opening my solution, Contoso Coffee approval, and I'm going to my table again, and from the table let's open up the view. So I'm just clicking on the view option from here, and once you click on view you are able to see the different views. I'm just opening the default view which is active machine orders. Let's click on that, and now let's just customize the view. So what is view in the Dataverse? That okay, how many columns you want to show to the end user when they are opening that particular view. That is something the definition of the view in the world of model driven application or in the world of Dataverse. Okay, now here we need to start adding couple of columns over here. So let's say first of all, here also you can see all the available column on the left hand side. This is your view design, and from here you can configure any property if you want. Okay, and this is like a default one. You can remove or add the columns the way you want. Okay, so let's start adding some column. So there are multiple ways to do it. Let's say I need approval status column, so you can just drag this column from here and paste it, drop it wherever you need. So let's say if I need here, so you can see approval status column has been added. Okay, you can use other way approach as well, like click on view column, and over here as well you can search for the column. So let's say I just need like ship date. So I'm just adding like ship date, and I can see here. Okay, and maybe you can just drag in between these two as well, because created on is something which I want at the very end. Okay, so you can have it like this way. Similar way you can search here as well. Let's say I need price column, so I'm searching price and dragging it over here like this way. And maybe I need one more additional column called status. So let's have the status column. So I'm just having the status column and drag it over here. Created on, I'm just keeping it as is right now. And let's click on save and publish to publish our view. Okay, so I just customize my view and saving and publishing over here. Publishing will take few moments. Let's wait for that to be published. Now once it is published, we need to do end-to-end testing for the application. We will first open the canvas application that we build in the class number 1. We will create one fresh record over there. That record will be available in the model driven application. After that, we will process it through the business process flow, and we will do the complete end-to-end testing over here with the application. Okay, so let's see how it will look like. Let it to be published and let's get started with the testing afterwards. And here I am, my view has been published successfully. Now let's try to test the application. For that, again, let's go back from here and let's open the solution. And now let's go to the app section over here where we will be able to see both our application. So first we have created one canvas application and second we created this model driven application. Okay, so let's play both the app one by one, and I'm just closing these unwanted tabs from here, and let's click here on 3 dots and let's try to play this application. So I'm playing my machine ordering request, and what I'm doing here is I'm first creating one of the record. Okay, and meantime I'm opening my model driven application as well. So I'm just selecting this and clicking on play button as well, so there I can see my model driven application also in a running mode. Okay, so this is how my model driven application is also showing, and you can see all the configured view is also showing me perfectly over here for all the existing record. Okay, but if we try to open any existing record right now, you can see you cannot be able to see any kind of business process flow associated with the record, right? Because these records were created earlier before we created, that business process flow. So now what we need to do, simply click on our canvas application, and let me just check out the scenario for greater than 10,000 price itself. So I'm ordering one coffee machine, so I'm simply selecting this commercial espresso machine. Okay, and from here I'm selecting this 21,000 and this 23,000, and let's compare it. So it is showing like this. Let's say I want to buy this A100 automatic with 21,900 price. Okay, and I'm just writing here the comment that commercial coffee machine. Okay, and let's create this order. So I'm creating this order from here, and you can see your machine request has been submitted successfully. Let's click on OK to go back to the home page, and now I want to create one more request as well to show that okay, whether my conditional statement is working or not. So I'm creating one more record. So I'm just selecting like espresso machines, and maybe I can select this barista light and maybe crema cafe. Let's click on compare, and maybe in this case I'm selecting this triple line one, and I'm just like okay, crema cafe order. Let's click on create machine order, and this is something which is also creating the machine order. Click on OK. So at least your canvas app work is done. This is the same application we built in first and second class. Okay, now let's go here and let's refresh our model driven application. So I'm simply clicking on refresh button from here, and you can see that I will be able to see the 2 records are created. Maybe you can just sort newer to older, and you can at least see these are the 2 records which are created. One is with 21,900 and another is 999. Okay, now let's just open up first the 21,001. Okay, as soon as you open this record up, you are able to see the business process flow showing over here. So complete guided process is showing to you, and the customized form, the new field is also showing you over here, like this is your approver one. So you are having 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 different stages over here. Okay, so now let's try to finish this up. So as soon as you click on each step, you are able to see the approval status. So let's say I'm approving this stage. So request is done. Let's go to next stage. So as soon as you go that, it will redirect to the next stage. Let's say capital approved because price is more than 10,000. So we are able to see the capital approved one. Okay, so I'm selecting yes from here, click on next stage, and then we will select place order. So maybe I can just provide the ship date. Okay, and supplier order ID which we need to provide, I can provide any random one. Click on next stage, and then we need to simply click on whether machine is received or not. Yes, I received it. Click on next, and the final is machine configured stage. Yes, send survey is also yes, and let's finish this process. So as soon as you do that, it will finish the process. But you can see that here there is one minor bug in my application which I published. The last one is showing as new stage. Actually, there was a proper name for that particular stage, right? That is something we need to provide. So maybe we can enhance it after this testing. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just having this new stage and it is finished perfectly. Okay, let me do one more thing over here. Let me open up my business process flow again from here. So maybe I can just go to processes and let me see what's the name I have provided over there. Maybe I can just improve it up very quickly, because I don't want like new name. Maybe I just want a proper name like machine configured or not. So maybe I'll just go here, and maybe from here, let's see, I will just change the name over here called machine configured. Okay, so it will be a proper name. Okay, because I don't want just like a that existing one. Let's save this, let's update this one. Okay, so I'm just updating this name over here. It will take few moments in order to update that one. So after you create, if you need any changes, you just need to simply update it out. Alright, it has been updated successfully. Now let's go again to our model driven application. So I'm going to my model driven application, and for this one you can see that it has been successfully approved. Okay, but on the other hand, I just need to do the second one, which is having the prices of 999, which is less than 10,000. So probably it should show 4 stage rather than 5. Let's open this up. And now you can see that we have updated the name. So last stage is showing us machine configured, and other things are looking like this. Let's start the process. So I'm making it approved. Next stage. So price is less than 999. So it is not showing me that stage. If you want to go back, you always have a back button. Okay. And let's say over here, let's say if you are changing the price, let's say if you are making it like 15,000. Okay. And let's say if in that case, if you are doing this, you can see this stage is automatically showing up right now. Okay, but I don't want to do that. I just want like 999 at this point, because I don't need that step. So depending on the stage's value, it is showing and hiding the step. Okay, that's the power of business process flow you are getting with. Let's click on next stage and let's place an order. So I'm setting up the ship date. I'm just setting up the order ID. Let's say 1413. Let's click on next stage. Let's machine is received. Yes. Next stage, and maybe you can just yes, and finish this up. Okay, so that's how this entire business process flow along with model driven application integration looks like, right? Isn't it cool? So with model driven, you can design view, form, you can customize your application, and on top of that, you can implement this kind of business process flow to make your process much more smoother over here. So yeah, that's pretty much it about model driven application. Now it's time for the quiz. So what you need to do, you simply need to answer the questions in the chat messages or simply in the comment section. So you just need to make sure that question number and then your answer A, B and C, and I'm happy to see how much of you are able to adopt few things from this particular class. So my first question is, what is a business process flow? Option A tool that manages inventory levels. Option B, visual representation of the steps with involved in business process. Option C, a method for creating a report. And option D, a system for managing user permission. This is the last topic we learned. So hopefully everyone will give the correct answer to me over here. Question number 2, what is the purpose of adding a branch condition in business process flow? Option A, to create a new table. Option B, to add stages for optional tasks. Option C, to modify the flow based on the specific conditions such as price being greater than 10,000 or anything else. And option D, delete existing stages. Easy one, you will be able to answer it. Pause it and answer in the comment section. Third question I do have here is, what is the data source for model driven application? Dataverse, Excel, any database with any connector? Let me see what would be the answer over here. Just answer your question in the comment section. Okay, or if you have any other question for me, feel free to ask that as well in the comment section over here. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it for today that I wanted to cover up. Okay, if you have any question for me, feel free to add that out in the comment section. If you are for the very first to my channel, make sure you hit thumbs up and subscribe my channel, and don't forget to press the bell notification to never miss any updates from me. Looking for any paid consultation or live training? All the details are available in the description box, or check out my website www.powerplatformtrainings.com. Go to upcoming training section where you will get the latest training programs details over there. You can always join the live training program with us. With this is Dhruvin signing off. See you in the next session with some amazing content. Till then, have a great day. Goodbye. And wait, if you haven't followed me on my Twitter and Instagram so far, do follow me over there as well. Alright, see you soon.